everyone. Good evening, and welcome to your Sunday Spice conversation with the Love Crusader. It is a great blessing and opportunity to be coming your way again today with another wonderful edition of Conversation with the Love Crusader. If you're joining us for the first time, this is a platform where we have fun conversations about our life, about love, about relationships. They are fun conversations, but they are conversations that we learn from. So we talk about serious issues in a fun way. We have fun while talking about serious matter. In the course of our conversation, you would learn one or two things, and your friends, brothers, sisters might also be interested. So I would enjoin you to please share this video. Be open to give comments, make your contribution. You're all welcome to do so. We are live at Men Fences TV on YouTube, at Men Fences on Facebook, and on my personal account on LinkedIn. It's Coco Joseph Omotese Comfort. And I have my very, very, very usual lieutenants with me this evening. Ladies first. Let's go for the ladies first. My beautiful and brilliant Titi Layo of True Love Expression, who is partnering with us to ensure we bring this platform. She's here again. Say hello, Titi. Titi.
Hey people, good evening, good evening, good evening.
You can see she's very excited. It promises to be an exciting.
I'm feeling the fun time we're going to have today, so I'm getting myself ready.
Correct. That's the spirit. Me too. I want to have fun. It's Love and Question Sunday, by the way. I will have two very, very funny but deep questions that we're going to talk about this evening. My other lieutenant is also here, Dr. Emmanuel, Dr. Sebo, whichever name you see, we call him plenty name. Emmanuel will do. Say hello to the people, Emmanuel.
Hello, everyone. A pleasure to be here today. And as usual, we're going to try to have a good time.
All right, people, I'm not going to waste your time because, like I said, it promises to be a very, very exciting edition. And we have two questions. I told us that for the Love and Question Sundays, we'll just be taking two questions alone. It's that these were not the only questions that came in the course of the month, but we take only two questions so we can deal with the questions very well. There's no rush. Please keep sending in your questions, whether they relate to what we have learned in that month or not. As long as there are questions about life or questions about love in general, about your relationships, send the question. There's a WhatsApp number on Facebook. It's connected directly to us. If you send a message through that WhatsApp number, we'll definitely get to air your question and answer it on one of our Love and Question Sunday. Okay. Let's try and do justice to the questions that we have today. I'll read out the questions. The very first question that we have. Remember, this month we talked a lot about love and career, and these questions actually came. The questions we have came from the love and career discussions that we had. All right, so it's ladies that sent in the two questions. So I don't know, maybe the brothers are shy. I want to encourage you guys to send in your questions too. I know sometimes men don't like to talk, but please talk. We will not mention your name. I will answer your questions anonymously, so no one knows it's you asking. All right, let's try to deal with the first question. It says, I'm not good. So this is a woman saying, I'm not good at business, but my husband will not allow me do office work. He has given me money twice to start a business, and the business is packed up. I know I am not cut out to be an entrepreneur and believe I will do well at a 9-to-5 job, This is a source of conflict as he keeps referring to me as a failure. He is very ambitious, outgoing, and is a contractor, but I'm not that kind of person. How do I resolve this conflict? Ah. So I went ahead to ask her, why doesn't your husband like office job? Hmm. Because I really wanted to know if there was any um how will I put it?
Underlying issue.
Yeah, what is the cocoa in this matter? Why doesn't this man like office job? Is it because it will take your time? Is it because, okay, let me answer what she said. She said, number one, flexibility. He believes that with business, she can go to work anytime and maybe close anytime. And she has like the power over her time. And so,
Autonomy.
yeah, that autonomy over her time. So he's looking at that. But the other aspect of it, which she really doesn't like, is he says there's always office romance going on.
Hmm.
So the man believes that your guys in the office will be chiking and toasting his wife. So I
Wow.
don't know whether the woman open business, somebody cannot walk into her business and toast. Anyways, we will start with the man because this is a man issue. When the man
Really?
Mhm.
what
Wow.
maybe me and Sister Titi cannot help the men further. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
brother Emma,
Oh my.
he said, what can I do?
Oh.
Speak for your brother. Let's know what's going on in your brother's
Oh.
head.
Okay, that's actually a very good question. And I am sorry you guys are experiencing conflicts in term because of your career choices, because I guess that in and of itself can provide a certain layer of guilt or stress internally. Now, having said that, it's very, very clear that this scenario that is painted is really a traditional scenario. And I say traditional from the standpoint of, a marriage setting in perhaps like in Nigeria, for example. So it's clear. And the reason I say it's clear is because, outside of Nigeria, a lot of the time women choose what they want to do in terms of their career, and it's fine. They find a way of working it out. But within the scope of Nigeria, one of the words that I wrote down is that word allow. And it was like, when you hear the word allow, it sounds like somebody's controlling the other person by not allowing them. That just got me
Mhm.
cringing.
Mhm.
Um, but so yeah, there are many layers to this question. I will try to keep it brief. Kind of TT in this answer. The first part that I want to address is for the lady. If the concern is fidelity, then that's a big concern. If your husband has concern, your spouse should know you at least to a very high degree. So if your spouse has concerns about the possibility of infidelity and saying this needs to be a factor, then you and your spouse need to have a good sit down, and address why he has that insecurity. Is this coming from his own background experience? Is this coming from something that has happened in the past in your marriage? So we cannot just blow off his concern and say he's trying to be controlling, because fidelity is a big deal. So if you get to the crux of the matter and realize that whatever it is that is really driving that fear of possible infidelity, if you realize it doesn't really have anything to do with the marriage or you, then we can start having a conversation on, okay, how do we go forward with this? Because if this is your heart desire, it will only create, like you've mentioned, conflict and frustration within the marriage. So let's try to understand his concerns. Let's address them. In terms of flexibility, what does that mean? Because one of the things that come with doing a 9 to 5 job is predictability. It's predictable. You go to work at this time, you get off at that time. Anybody that is doing business and want to be successful at business, at the initial phases of that entrepreneurship, you'll be investing the bulk of your time. So if we're talking about something even consuming time, business might end up consuming more time. So let's address the concerns, is what I'll say. Have a sit down with your spouse. These are the concerns you've outlined. Why are they a concern? What exactly are you talking about when you say time and flexibility? Now, how can we create a solution, a way that we work together for me to still be able to go to work and still be able to meet those flexibilities that maybe you are concerned about? That's one. In terms of infidelity, we've already talked about it. It still boils down to having a conversation. I do not think, and let me say it categorically, I do not think that you should pursue business even if you don't like it, all because your spouse says you should do that. I do not think, and I don't believe there is biblical precedence for you to do that. To me, that is controlling. And that is only going to create continual friction because you will feel unfulfilled, you will feel unhappy going forward. So I'll leave it at that and I'll hand it over and join back again later.
Okay. Thank you. I like that you, because I was really really concerned too when he mentioned the issue of infidelity. So I went forward to say, have you cheated on your husband before, or what would make him want to question your fidelity or be afraid that in the office they would check his wife and all that kind of stuff. She said she's never cheated on him before, but she knows he has a bit of insecurity. So he's always this type that yeah, he's a bit controlling. Let's use that word. And he wants to know where she is at what one particular time, who she's talking to, stuff like that. So and the question I threw at her was, does he know that if, for example, you become successful in business, you might even meet more of these so-called, in quotes, big men, because the bigger the business gets, the bigger your social cycle will expand. So
Exactly.
unless this business is just a ruse, it's just an excuse for you not to really go out and be out there. The
Mm,
only way that he can say you will not see someone that will talk to his wife is if she's a full kule. You know what to call kule in Hausa? Yes. No, she will not go to the market. She will not go to the shop. I mean, anybody can check any Titi tell you talk. Let me know. Am I, anybody can check anybody anywhere now. Abi, not checking you. Find married woman like you. Eh, don't tell me, oh, because I don't want my brother to hear. Go on. Just your comment on the question.
um, see, just like I was saying before we came on, that things like this are happening all the time, you know, and it's a good thing that we even have more insights to this situation, because we know now that the guy on his part has a little bit of insecurity issues, so that's one thing that might need to be handled. And you have to choose your battles. Which one do you want to win? If he has insecurity issues, which yeah, you might not be able to please him, but there are some things that you just intentionally do. He wants to know where you are, what you're doing, before he even asks, because you have targets. You know that you have an ultimate target, so to speak. Before he even ask you, call him and say, see, I'm here now, and I'll be home in another 30 minutes. Just to whet that so when the time comes for you to start having that conversation, I've been transparent with you, and all that. Again, you might not be able to satisfy people like that, but at least you do your own bit. And with people like that, or because it's the man that has the issue in this case, the problem is usually that having that conversation. We know that having that conversation will solve a whole lot of things and make things clearer. But to sit down and have that conversation is always the issue. And in dealing with most men, if not all men, I've learned that you come at them with facts and not emotions. So if you come, if you eventually have that sit down, you start saying, I don't know why you don't want me to do 9 to 5. I feel like you don't do it. You're not going to get anything. So come at him with facts and say, see, and that's why I said, do the background work of being transparent, because that's one of his fears. So do the background work. So say, see, I've been transparent with you. If that's what you want, I've been clear with you. And come at him with fact that, see, there are people that do go, just like we are saying, the people that do business and still meet, that my chances of even meeting more people is higher in business. As a matter of fact, I can meet them without doing anything. And I'm sure he knows that, but come at him with facts, or come to the conversation with facts, and just try to allay his fears. And again, he might not be satisfied because we know he has an issue, but just try to allay his fears because you have a target, so that is just it.
And if I may
Okay.
add to what Titi just said,
All right. Go
uh,
on.
it's important for every other person listening in to us to know that when you get married to your spouse, you need to accept your spouse for who they are. That includes their dreams, their hope at the very moment,
Mm-hmm.
and their future hope, because we keep evolving and changing as people. Somebody might, the same lady today in the next 5 years might actually be interested in business. Who knows? We never know, just depending on maybe the type of business. But it's important that you accept your spouse for who they are, and that you focus on finding out. In fact, I was discussing with my own spouse about this question. One of the things that popped up is I was telling her that I think it's healthy in a marriage. Every 5 years, you need to ask your spouse, so what do you want to do now? And I'm asking from a career standpoint, what are you interested in now? What do you want to do now? What's your focus now? And then how can I help you along that journey of achieving it? And when the person tells you, decide what you
Mm.
can do, transparently explain, this is the part I can actually do to help. I may not be able to do everything you want, but I will support you, and I love you. I want to see you happy. I want to see you be the best version of yourself. So I wanted to actually add this point in there.
Okay. Thank you very, very
If
much.
people could have conversations like this, we would have more marriages that are succeeding.
I was
Having conversations like this is always the issue.
that's I was just going to say it's that, like
So,
how do you even start some of this kind of conversation? Because especially when it's like Titi was saying, when it's coming from the woman, it's harder. I'm not trying to be partial, but some guys will even tell you that they don't want to hear let's talk.
mhm.
The moment you say, sweetheart, can we talk? The wires and the tentacles of some men, they're already standing up like, they don't want to hear let's talk. Why? Why? You're a man, Emmy. Can you help us really? What's going on?
From
Why are men
experience,
afraid?
they
Men are
know.
afraid of conversations. Why are men afraid of talk? The talk, the talk. Why?
Oh.
You wake some of them up in the night, they'll say you spoil their sleep. You tell them in the morning, they say, don't you know I'm supposed to be going to work? They come back in the afternoon and the evening. Have had a long day. I'm supposed to be relaxing. At what time do you talk to this man? Oh, because they are running away from the talk. Why? Why do men run away from the talk? Help us.
From
Help us.
experience, so they know
Exactly,
that when a woman
exactly.
says, let's talk, there's fire on the mountain.
Exactly. And when there's fire on the
So
mountain, what do you do?
everybody
Run,
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 run.
run.
Oh. But I think that as people grow older in marriage, you should have that. I don't see any good marriage succeeding without having these conversations. Just like he was saying, having conversation maybe in terms of career every 5 years. There are some type of conversation you should have that should be even earlier than that 5 years. There are certain conversations that day to day, because life is happening. We all go out, whether it's the one that wants you to do 9 to 5 or not. we go out, things are speaking to us, things are affecting our subconscious daily, you know. So it is important that these conversations be had as often as you both agree. If not, you will miss out on each other. And that's the challenge most marriages have. One person has gone way ahead, the other person is still behind. You know, one person is thinking things in their mind, calculating things, so they've gone far. They are not saying anything. The other person is waiting to catch up. You know, so as much as it's possible, we should be having this conversation. So I understand the man thing. You know, when you
You
hear trouble, you take cover. You don't even wait for wherever it is that's coming from.
okay, okay,
You
hold on,
know,
hold
but
on,
the earlier we begin to,
hold on, Titi. On a serious note, is it every
Mhm.
let's talk that actually ends up as trouble?
Yeah, chances are that it will end up as trouble if you don't watch it. Did you get
Mm.
that?
Ima, is that true?
Well, I'm going to
If it is
second the
not
part where she says,
constructive, because for most women, there's that tendency for them to get all emotional and break down. Then you forget about what you're saying and start consoling her and say, ah, sorry, it's not like that. I didn't mean it that, you know. So if you're not intentional, if you don't make it
mhm,
constructive, most of the times it ends up going south.
mhm.
Oh wow.
Okay. So anyway, for a lot of men, um, yeah, it's a bit challenging if the experience is not positive. If over time you feel like conversation always leads to conflict, then you
Mhm.
avoid conversation to prevent conflict. Because
Mm.
contrary to what many people believe, a lot of men just want peace in their home. They
Like
want some
women
peace.
don't
And
want peace. Uh-uh.
I'm, I'm,
Oh,
I'm
oh,
sorry.
oh.
I'm sorry. That's not the point. I'm not speaking for women. I'm just saying, since it's been thrown at me, a lot of men
Yeah.
just want peace, and they want peace and quiet. And if your conversation is going to produce tension, maybe anger, stress, negative emotions, a lot of the time people shy away. We're human, we'll shy away from things like that. But again, it's still the same. And again, there are many factors. Women are very, very intelligent beings. And this is not a men versus women conversation. But generally speaking, women win most arguments. All right. When conversations boil down to an argument, I would say 80 to 90% of the time, women win those arguments because they're just is who they are by nature. Um, and of course, like Titi mentioned, a lot of men will stick with the facts, but a woman will not stick with the facts. She will go around all the things that surround that issue. So she will win, of course. But at the end of the day, we lose the purpose of the conversation. It's not a
Mhm.
I win. We're not trying
That's
to.
what I was
It
just going
shouldn't
to
be an
say. Are we in
argument.
the conversation to win or lose? It's not
It
a win or
shouldn't
lose.
be
Yeah.
right.
So
It
it's the
shouldn't be an
mindset
argument.
thing. It's the mindset.
It
You
A lot
come
of the
you
time
come
is
into
based
the
on
conversation
experience.
thinking, attack because they're about to win me.
Yeah.
They're about
Let me
yeah,
I
guard
think it's a
myself
yeah,
or
bias.
prepare myself. So it's the mind.
right.
Let's
A
start
bias.
changing
There's
our
a
mind.
bias
What's the
already.
purpose?
Yes, I think there's a
So
bias, and that's the problem.
so the way to go about it then would be if anybody listening is in a situation where you're finding it hard to get your husband or the man to actually have a conversation, you might want to reassess your approach. How do you approach the conversation? You might want to reassess the content. What kind of words do you use during the conversation? Are they accusatory in nature? Are they critical in nature? Is it another lashing, tongue lashing? Because, of course, so all that needs to be assessed because when the Bible says that our words should be filled with grace, so that it gives grace to the hearer, if nobody will shy away from a conversation that is giving him or her grace, regardless of whether male or female. So let's reassess how we approach that communication, and then make changes so that we can start having, and over time, even your husband will start initiating conversation if he is comfortable or confident that these conversations will be productive. We'll come out of it with solutions. We'll come out of it with ideas, with strategies. We'll come out of it feeling much better than before we started. All those things impact if somebody wants to have a conversation.
Hmm. Okay, all right. Back to the
Yes.
question
Uh,
that we were
since he has
dealing with.
spoken, wait, Mama, wait.
Oh yeah, tell me.
Since he has spoken for the men, let me speak for the women. Because I understand where he's coming from. That
Okay.
a lot of women, most women, if not all women, need have a lot of work to do when it comes to presenting a situation. You know,
Mhm.
we have so much work to do because talking comes naturally for a woman. So she just thinks that when it's time to have conversation, she would just talk the way she would normally talk, and the guy will get it. Which most women will find out that it's not like that. So you need to think about what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, and how to present it, and that is true word. You know, but my word is for the guys. The woman is doing so much work trying to see how to present these things in presentable manner because nowadays the people that are having these issues are not women that tongue lash. I'm not saying there are no women that do tongue lashing and say and accusation, and the women that have these issues like this are not women that are they are wayward with words, or they think this thing through sometimes. I'm not saying all the time. So my point is, on the part of the guy too, he should start reorientating his mind. Even if conversations like that come out, go turns out, as the man, why are you head of house? That's what, when they say you are the head of house, these are one of the things. Take control of the situation. It's not just to be bringing money, or take control of the situation. Find out how to have constructive conversation. Yes, these things are tough. It's tough for the woman too to be able to control her tongue, because on a good day she will just talk blah 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 blah, So she's doing her own work trying to control her tongue, present the conversation appropriately, right time. I think that is the man's duty as the head of the home to take charge of conversations like this, especially when they are going south. I'm not saying he will do that all the time, but for most conversations, go and learn how to have constructive conversation and stop running. At some point, you will stop running and this talk will still talk it. You know how it goes. So why not make it constructive? The man should start reorientating his mind and start learning how to have conversations.
I like that she said this talk we will still talk it because
You know women now, one way or the other, we will still talk it.
no
So
matter
how do you
how
want
much,
it? Hot or cold?
no matter how much we run from that elephant in the room, we are going to discuss it too. And truthfully, communication is the bedrock of any relationship.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I mean, not having that conversation, not talking to each other, not discussing that issue, is like just prolonging the evil days. Like I said, just um, keeping the trouble to await yourself in future, which might turn into something else. A small issue not discussed, not handled, can become a mighty and a bigger issue, because there would now be reasons to assume, okay, maybe this is why, and that is why, and this is what, and that is, and before you know, the small tree begin to grow branches, and it
Yeah.
becomes a bigger issue. So it's always better to talk. In this case, though, this lady said she had already had this conversation with her husband, especially when the second business failed, to say, look, I don't think I'm cut out to be an entrepreneur. I've never done any kind of business, any kind of buying and selling in my life. I don't know how to do this kind of business. Please let me continue with my 9 to 5 job that I used to do. What I advised, and based in addition to what has been advised this evening, is for her to go maybe get a remote job. Thank God for this era of flexible working, something she can do from home, something that might not require her going to the office every day. I cannot deal with her trust issue or his trust issues. He has to deal with it himself, go see a therapist, find out why he is having trust issues. Because if
Huh.
she has cheated on him before, then there's really no reason why he should be having these trust issues, really, unless he doesn't trust himself. Because that's another.
Mm,
Some men, when they know what they are doing outside,
Or they know what their friends are doing.
Or what their friends are doing outside. Because when she said he's a contractor, he travels a lot, he's
So
outside,
he's
he's
seeing
always
things.
there. So I
And you'd be
understand
like,
that.
no, 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 no. I won't allow my wife to do this.
So maybe he's influenced by the things he's seen out there, and which yes, these things are out there, but we can only just live if we're going to live in peace and have a good relationship. Then the only way to do it is to trust ourselves, as much as we are, whether we are together or we are apart. We just have to try and build trust and hold on to it as much as we
Mhm.
can. So that was my advice, and that's what I would still say to her. Keep engaging. I've told her she can even talk to
Yeah.
maybe his family members to talk to him if he keeps insisting. She doesn't like that he calls her a failure, and I think that's not fair, because if she has failed at this,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean she will not fail. She will not do well at something else, and she knows herself more than the man would know her. And I believe so. If she's saying, "This is who I am. This is what
Yes,
I,"
Mama, that's one thing I taught to you.
then it's just a matter of the fact that this man wants to be controlling. If not, she's saying, "This is what I can do. I know myself. This is what I'm good at. Why don't you allow her do what she's good at?" I
Mm.
mean, like Emmy said, every man wants peace in their home. I think allowing her to do what she's good at would give peace. What do you think, Titi? You're trying to say something.
Yeah, I was saying that's I forgot to mention to tell this lady that you are not a failure, because there's that tendency that over time, if you keep hearing something, there's that tendency for you to want to begin to believe it. You start asking yourself, maybe I'm actually a failure, or maybe I'm saying something that is I'm asking for too much. So I just want to put it out there that you're not a failure. Your intentions or your feelings are valid. You just have to find a way to manage the situation. And I think that, yeah, the man has insecurity issues. He has to deal with it. But I think that you can help him. And one of the ways that you can help him is trying to be as transparent as possible. You might have to go the extra
Auntie
mile,
Titi,
more than what we,
Auntie
the other
Titi,
normal human
Auntie
beings, would
Titi.
do.
Oh, wait, because
Yes,
we
you
say
have
this
to
thing
help him.
severally.
Because
Hold on,
if it were the
hold on.
woman,
Wait,
wait,
wait.
Mama, if it were the woman in
Auntie
that
Titi,
situation,
wait first.
people would say
I
things
have a bone to
differently.
pick. Wait. I have a bone to pick. Because you keep saying she should help him by being transparent. I don't
Mhm,
think that's the problem
mhm.
here. Look,
That's
men
not the problem.
who have this kind of issues, if they don't therapeutically deal with it, no, there's no amount of transparency.
This
If
man is
you
not. This man is
if
not a therapeutic person.
plug plug phone, I'm telling you, plug microphone to your body while you go out in the market, so that you'll be seeing and watching. Carry a camera
Yeah.
on you. I don't know what level of transparency, because it's an inbuilt issue. Abi, Ima, what do you think? It's an inbuilt
Mhm.
issue this man has. It's not like she
Yeah.
has given him reason to doubt him before.
Well,
That
to
is
her, to
right.
her, if the guy starts stating things now, you'll be surprised. To her, she has done her best. To her, again, I say that the guy has issues he has to deal with, but you can't force him. You can't control him and say, yeah, you must deal with these issues. I'm just saying from her own aspect what she can do. Again, she knows that she has a target. The target is not really dealing with the insecurity issue. You have an ultimate target of helping or trying to make him understand stuff. So that is just it.
Yeah. So, if I may add to that, I do believe that if that man, and I assume he's a Christian, if he's not, the first thing he should do is get born again, get saved. Because one of the things that the Holy Spirit does is help us to deal with us. It's obvious that if, for example, I sit here and I project my insecurities on another person, trying to get them to do certain things that may not even be comfortable with them. Now we're going into manipulation, we're going into control, and at the
Exactly.
end of the day,
Mhm.
it will not really, it's like a well that will never get filled. There's nothing you do that will make that person, because it's internal, and
Yeah.
that internal feeling can be dealt. through the help of the Holy Spirit. Of course, if the person is not saved, you guys need to think about doing that. Even people that are saved still have insecurities. So we're all still growing, we're all still, changing. But it is something that should not stop. See, the way I see it, and again, my personal issues should not stop your destiny, should not stop you from being the
Mm-hmm.
best version of what God has called you to be. So don't, again, well, I don't want more issues in your marriage, but at the same time, I'm saying don't settle for, I'll just do this because it makes my husband happy. Meanwhile, it makes
Definitely
you
not.
miserable and it makes you unfulfilled. You need to have a conversation. You both need to see a counselor if necessary, but you should be able to pursue your dream, pursue what makes
Definitely.
you tick, make you you, and your husband or wife, depending on the situation, should love you for who you are and support what you want to do, as long as it's within the confines of dignity and morality.
Hmm. Okay. Oh. Okay. 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 I totally agree. Am I talking? Am I muted?
We can hear you.
All right, great. So I totally agree with all your points. Thank you
We
very
can
much.
hear you.
Um, as much as I know that no one person can heal anybody, if you have a problem, an inbuilt problem that is affecting your marriage, I advise that you just go seek therapy, seek help, go find out why. You'll be surprised that maybe that kind of man, the mother cheated on the father or a sister, it might just come from something someone has done or a nasty story, that he has heard, like what we were saying, from what he's seen out there. And these are things that he needs to deal with within himself, not project it on this woman who has not given him reason to actually doubt her. I mean, she doesn't have to go to work to cheat if she wants to be a cheat, actually. She doesn't have to, yeah, she doesn't have to go to a 9 to 5 job to cheat if she wants to be a
True.
cheat. So no
She
one can.
doesn't even have to step out of her house
That's
these
what I mean. No
days.
Mm,
one can monitor anyone. She doesn't need to step out of her house in this era and age that we are now in this world.
Yeah.
So he just has to give himself some form of peace. Because I can imagine that man that is traveling around doing business and all that, and then at the back of his head he's worrying, oh, okay, so what is this woman doing at home now? And who is she calling? And when she went out today, who greeted her? Who checked my wife? Uncle, hypertension, you're gonna die early. That you are just calling for early death. How many will you think? How many will you calculate? So for our own peace of mind, everybody's peace of mind, let's just live trusting each other that we will not do to the other what we don't expect them to do to us. That's that's where I will hang my horse as far as that question is concerned. But I think the second question is a bit similar. It's also coming from a woman, and she said, let me read it out. Just give me a moment to go there to the questions. She has said, my husband is laid back.
Hmm.
And laid back, I told her to break it down. She said, is he lazy? Because when you say laid back, I don't know what you mean. And he's not really lazy because when he wants to do something, he does it well. But to get him to do it is the problem. Okay, let me finish the question. So he said, my husband is laid back and unambitious. He is satisfied with just feeding his family, providing clothing,
Hmm.
shelter. But I want more. I want to travel. I want investments. I want to buy properties. I want to be able to give to charities and missions. When I discuss this with him, he says he wants these things too. So he likes these things too. But then he's not working. He's not stressing himself. He's not going to kill himself to get them. So he's not making effort in the direction of these things, but he says by mouth that he wants them. So she feels he's not ambitious, he's not going out there to get things. And she's really, really frustrated about it. What can she do? So yeah, let's go there.
Oh boy.
mm.
Hmm.
You you push should talk.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. Okay, you want us to start? I thought you were going to pick a person to start. Okay.
No, anyone,
Uh,
this lead.
so I think what I have said in to the and their questions are similar. The
Yeah.
same principle applies. The principle of accepting your husband, your spouse for who he or she is, and that includes the way my wife told me today was she was like, you need to accept your spouse for who they tell you they are, who you discover them to be when you get married, and who they become. I thought that was very interesting.
That's a powerful one. Oh
Yeah.
God. I need to I
So
need to have I need to have that down. Please say it again. That's a
it's not
powerful
my
one.
quote. It's just
So,
that I can only explain the way it was said to me. It's probably a
uh-huh.
quote that she heard. It's
Mhm.
something about accepting your spouse for who
Uh-huh.
they say they are, and that
Mhm.
refers to before you get married to them, who you find out they are when you get married to them, and who they become.
Mm. Mm.
So um, for the person that is feeling frustrated about
Mm,
saying her spouse is laid back, a man is laid back, it sounds to me like the person expected the man to be a very ambitious person. And by ambition, I mean just chasing work, working all his life, and chasing making as much money as can be made. And she having a certain standard of life. Maybe that's what she thought about before she got married. Maybe their premarital conversation give her the impression that this is what it's going to be. And now she's facing the reality. And the reality of who the person is right now. She still needs to accept him. She still needs to accept him for who he is. Without getting into the temptation to try to make him become something he's not, because the same way we talked in the previous question that it leads to frustration and conflict, it would only lead to frustration and conflict. So you need to give your spouse, of course it's important to encourage your spouse to be a better version of themselves. That's why you need to ask them, what do you want to do? And when they tell you what it is they want to do right now, how can I assist you to make it happen? What do I do to make that happen? And you need to support it as best as you can and accept them for who they are. That would reduce your own levels of anxiety. The second part of my answer is, if she has such great desire for all these things, who is stopping her from chasing those things? Who is stopping you from going to be the make all the money she wants to make? We're now living in a world where, to a very large extent, there are no limitations on women, right? She can go ahead and be a CEO. Who's
mhm.
stopping you, sweetheart? Chase the
Yeah.
dream. Make the money. Go on the vacation. Take him along. I'm sure, as he's told you verbally, that he's happy to. Yeah, he'll like those things. When you make the money, he'll be happy to go with you on the mission trips and everything else that have been mentioned. But if you sit there and say you are not going to do anything, but you're going to keep putting as much pressure as possible on your spouse to do something so you can have a certain lifestyle, I think that is a setup for constant conflict. So that's my tidbits to that. I'll add more later.
Mm.
TT.
Mm. Mm. Okay. Auntie Titi, go on, go on, go on, go on.
Um, I just want to help this lady get a better perspective or what may be going on or what I think is going on here. I'm sure she must have come across it that um different people have different temperaments. So sometimes, just like um Ima's wife was saying, accept people for who they say they are, and not just by words, who they present themselves to be. You know, maybe it is possible that probably when they were dating, she had this impression that this guy was a sanguine, you know, outgoing. He may not really be outgoing, but he might just love the outgoing life. So while she was outgoing, he liked it. So she thought that he would be like that too, you know. What I understand from the way she has presented the guy is that high chances are that this guy is a phlegmatic person. They are usually laid back people. And I'm sure at some point in your life, you would have come across people like this. They are laid back. They don't want conflict. They are peacemakers. you know. So most times, chances are that that's the kind of guy she got married to. She may not know, so it may shock her by the time she gets married and realize that this guy is like this. You know, again, you've got to accept your spouse for who they present themselves to be eventually. And there's nothing you are going to do to change a phlegmatic. They will forever be phlegmatic. That does not mean that they cannot improve on themselves. They cannot be better, you know, but that thing will always be at the background there. So just like Hima said, go live your life. From what she has explained, the guy is not stopping her from doing what she wants to do. Him is just laid back, you know. So go ahead, live your life, make the money, go on vacation. When it's time to go on vacation, book the flight. Tell him, see, I've planned. People like this, they are laid back. They will not do anything. So tell him, I've planned everything. This is the money. This is the bill for this thing. Oh yeah, how much are you bringing? You know, since he says he likes it, right? So how much are you there? That's the way to handle people like this. But again, give yourself peace. Accept it that this guy is going to be like this. Titi like, you know, but that shouldn't stop you from enjoying yourself really. And that shouldn't stop you from incorporating him. You just have to be strategic about people like this, really. So if he likes it, incorporate him into your plans and your strategies and everything. And I'm sure she's the woman. You'll find a way to get what you want eventually. So
Hey, okay. Oh, this city, I don't know the way
Wow.
that they used to get eventually what they. Anyway,
you know,
Wow.
you're not married to the man, and she's married to the man, so she knows how.
okay, all right. Hold on. I agree with you, people, and I like what you're saying because this is my belief as the person. I mean, you're not crippled. If you have the drive, and as a woman, you're the one God has blessed, go make the money. Make your money. Have your money. Fulfill your dreams. Go be who you want to be. As long as, number one, the man is not stopping you. Number two, the man does not get insecure because she's now doing well. She's making
Or it
money.
doesn't
It's
leave all
another
the bills for you
strategy.
to be
Let's be
paying.
very sincere. Let's be very, very practical. For
Mm-hmm.
this kind of men who are this laid back, especially the one who can open his mouth and say, yes, me too, I want that. But he's not taking any action. By the time you start taking action, you start doing it, you would expect that, okay, maybe you carry him along. Like Titi was saying now, okay, I've planned the trip. Oh, you bring your own ticket. Now, at least buy your own ticket. And he come and say, I don't have money. What will you
Mm-hmm.
do? What will you do? Travel alone? Leave him?
You
Because
leave him now and go on your trip by yourself. This woman has to learn to be happy all by herself. Oh.
then why is she married?
Mm.
Is she going to be
Yeah.
living single and married?
Yeah.
That's her cross to
Because I
carry
mean, if she's going to be taking trips
temporarily.
on her own, she's going to be traveling on her own,
No,
she's going to be spending money to get the good life for herself. In quote and unquote, why is she married?
no, she won't do that on her own all the time. I'm sure that out of 10 times, the guy might want to participate maybe 2 or 3 times. That might not be enough for her. She might want 10 over 10 or 9 over 10. So she has to learn to be happy by herself and accept the input from the guy. I'll have issue when the guy is not even making any input at all, as in zero input. Then that would be a huge problem
Okay,
because it will be frustratingly
I'm
annoying.
still coming back to this because I've heard a lot about these situations. And like Emmanuel will always say, especially in the traditional sense of what they see as traditional marriage, the traditional sense of marriage, this man is supposed to be the head of the home. He's supposed to be on the driving seat, for giving the family direction and where to go and focus and how to do things. But he's laid back. And this woman is kind of forced, let's put it that way, to now want to step up. She's seen now, maybe as a controller. She's sitting on her husband's head, she's controlling the husband instead of her to be submissive. That's one aspect. The other
Mm-hmm.
aspect, yeah. For some men, okay, and I'll give you an example. I was sharing this, I don't know whether I said it last week or so. a couple, young couple, 2 years old married, the marriage ended. And it was because of a woman's promotion. The woman got promoted. This was not even about business. She got promoted, and by her promotion, she was not earning 3 times the money of the salary of her husband. The husband
Hmm.
said to her, "Go back and tell them in that office you don't want that promotion. You cannot be earn that kind of money. You cannot earn above me like that."
Ha,
What
ha, ha,
what
ha.
was when she started not taking up responsibilities in the house. I mean, this woman didn't buy gold for herself. She didn't buy shoes for herself. Oh. She started taking care of things like, oh, our generator has been bad for years. I'll fix the generator. This is
Ah,
in the house. Let me fix it.
that kind
So,
of marriage is it not even good that it ended?
okay, see what you're saying now.
Oh yeah, that's what I've been saying all along. That if the guy is just having zero input, then there will be an issue. But if he's
Mm,
making little effort, accept him for who he is. If he's having zero input, then there's an actual problem, you know. But if he's contributing the best way he can, I mean the little way he can, then it's not an issue. I can't be doing everything, planning everything, arranging stuff, and after years into the marriage, you still don't get it. Even if you are laid back, you don't know what your wife wants, you don't know what she likes. There's some things that you just do because your spouse likes it, not because you are that kind of person. Then
yeah,
your brain should be booting after a few years of marriage,
ready
you know.
booting.
Oh yes,
How
your
long does
brain
it
will be
take
telling
to boot?
you, oh, she likes it when we go on vacation. So let me get into the, oh please.
Oh, please. Okay, Emmy. When she says that, it means she has nothing else to say. Oh, please. You cannot have the floor.
So, well, the question alludes to the fact that the man is a responsible man.
Yeah.
The question alludes to the fact that he is very happy to meet the needs of the family in certain
Mhm.
aspects, and it's clear that that's from a mindset of these are essential, this is important, these are my obligatory responsibilities. The aspect of having a drive, I see it as maybe, people are playing politics to get up, to get promoted. There's opportunity to go up. You just need to do this. You just need to go for additional, barbecue or whatever people do to get up the ladder in the company, for example. And the guy is not just interested in all the shenanigans. He's okay. I'm feeding my family. I got what I need. Blah blah blah. So yeah, and that can be frustrating if the frustration comes if the desire of the woman is that, okay, my husband being the head of the house, and this is really a very traditional setting we're talking about, being
Mhm.
the head of the house, should be doing this, doing that, doing that, doing that. So now she has expectations that are not being met. Unfulfilled expectation creates a dissatisfied woman. A dissatisfied woman is not, you can't live with a woman that is not feeling content or satisfied, because everything is just going to be a problem. She'll be oozing out negative emotions through every corner possible. So she needs to step back and reassess the scenario. Now, of course, your husband may not be the CEO you thought he would be, but what is it that you guys have going for you presently? And then how can you, like a good Proverb 31 woman, take the capacities that you have now, what you guys have, maximize it such that you're still able to have those experiences that you want to have, and you guys don't necessarily have to live a life full of conflict. It's all about managing the situation. And part of managing the situation just means sometimes you just stop having those quote unquote unrealistic expectations. Yeah, yeah, this is who your spouse is as of today, because 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, he or she may change.
Mhm.
And you're like, oh, what happened? Well, life happens. People change all the time. So, but as of today, this is who he or she is. Embrace her, embrace him, and find out how you can continue to be a voice of support that propels him or her to be the best version of themselves today. I think that's what's going to give you joy and peace in your home, because you're going to get all those vacations that we're talking about. If you end up getting all that and then your marriage is a crisis, it brings no joy at the end of the day. So, and what we've talked about here, if you and your husband are now at loggerheads where you're going on vacation all by yourself, everybody separated, you go this way, all because you insist on it must be like this, then you have to determine what price you're willing to pay for that. So from a traditional mindset, again, traditionally, yes, I would say look at your capacities. How much are you making as a family? Where can you save? How can you plan Christmas, for example, and have a fabulous, fantastic vacation during that time? That's an idea. But for everybody else that are not traditional, sister, go make the money that you have a desire to make. There are no limits to your capacities. Make that money and bless your family with all the gifts God and the desire God has put in your heart. Don't convert desire to a premise for quarrel and conflict in your marriage.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Uncle,
you,
Uncle, try and wake up. Uncle, try
Uncle.
and try and be
Wake
reading the
up,
room. Be reading the
wake
room.
up.
What does your wife like? Try
I
once in a while.
mean,
I understand that you are the way you are, but please try and understand what your wife wants once in a while. And when she asks for it, try to give it too. But sister, give yourself peace. So enjoy your life. Don't allow somebody's another person's reggae to come and spoil your blues. Enjoy your
I'm
life as much as it's
just,
possible. Try and
I
incorporate him as much as it's possible too. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think we've nailed it. As far as I'm concerned, we've nailed it. This particular person that asked this question is a colleague of mine, and we actually had trashed the issue at work. Talking about, oh, just live your life. Like, some people had
mhm.
that opinion. Oh man, you go live your life. And but I told them, I said, look, in the traditional sense, I remember that some years back, me, myself, and I took myself out to a restaurant to have lunch alone by myself. I just felt like, when you're in that mood of let me even chop my money, I work, I work, I work. Let me chop my money today. That kind of mood. And I
Mhm.
met with one mommy in quotes from our church, mommy, and she scolded me. She scolded me like a child. She was like, how can you go to a eat alone? You took a take. What do you mean by you take yourself out alone? You are supposed to go with
What?
your husband. You're a
What?
man. You go out with your husband. So that's why I had to bring the traditional sense to say, in the traditional sense of it, what was saying might not work. This woman would be saying that, oh, she wants to sit on the man's head. Oh, she wants to show that she has money. Oh, she wants to this, she wants to control. She wants to that, she wants to that. However, all we are saying on this platform is that you do what makes you happy. Life is too short. It's just really, really, really too short
Mhm.
to be married. Marriage was not meant to be endured, it's to be enjoyed. If you're not enjoying
Mhm.
it, reevaluate it, sister. Brother, reevaluate it. Sit down, talk with yourself. Not everyone is going to be a Bill Gates. Not everyone is going to be a Dangote. We know that, But if this is what you actually want as a man, then work for it. If it's not what you want, stop saying it. Because I think for me, that is where I was not comfortable. If he keeps saying and he's not doing, he's misleading this woman by saying, oh, me too, I want those things, but he's not taking the action to get them. Do you get what I mean? So stop saying it. Just say, Auntie, just leave me where I am. As I am so. As I'm paying school fees and I'm feeding you people. That's all I came to do in this life. Then leave Auntie to buy houses and land she wants to buy. Don't come back tomorrow and say, oh, she's a witch. She took my glory. She's using my glory. That's why she's making it. Oh, you've not heard that? I've heard
Wow.
it. Oh, Africa, may God have mercy on us. Oh, she took my
Mm.
glory. Oh, that's why she's the one making the money. She's the big girl while I'm like the house boy. It is this same person who is laid back, who is doing nothing, who is going to come back tomorrow and complain. As long as you know you will not complain, don't stop the woman from living her life if that's what she wants to do. But as much as it's possible, if the man is making effort, auntie, carry him along. I
Mhm.
say it to women. There is no house that is built that will be crying and say, hello, hello, you see me? As you see me, I'm beautiful like this. It is the woman that brought 80% of the money we used to build this house. Nobody will know. It is our house. It's our house. So if the man cannot bring the 100% of the money to build the house, and he has 40%, and God has blessed you with the 60%, my sister, it doesn't make you his head. It makes you his helper. Help him with your 60%. Build the house of your dreams and live in it. Auntie, if you like a mansion, live in a mansion. Don't say, oh, unless the man is the one that built every single block. He is the head of the house, is the man. He has to build the house and bring me in. And then when the man cannot build the house and bring you in, you start being resentful. You start being bitter. Auntie, lower expectation. Like we always say, where there's no expectation, there's no disappointment. Do for yourself what you can do for yourself. Trust God to do the rest for you. All right, people. Thank you so much. Our time is up. I have no intention of keeping you beyond this 1 hour today. Next month is the main month that we have been waiting for. If you have not told somebody, please tell somebody to tell somebody. It is the love and sex month. No holds barred conversation about love. So if your children will be watching the TV by 6 o'clock, or they will be on YouTube by 6 o'clock, just go and look for a way to keep them busy. It's going to be raw. We're going to deal with it. That big elephant in the room, the one that nobody wants to talk about, that thing that people have been shying away from. Next month, the entire month of November is dedicated to love and sex. Like I always say, continue to bring in your question. There is a WhatsApp number on our Facebook page. Send in your questions and we'll make all effort to answer it anonymously. So don't be afraid to say, oh, if I bring a question, they will know. Don't worry, it's between me and you. Even my listeners don't know the people who have asked these questions today. I don't tell them who the people are. It's just we deal with the question by the grace of God as they come. And share, tell your friends, tell your brothers and sisters. You'll be doing someone a good service by telling them about this platform where they can come and learn about love, life, and relationship. And I think it's high time we bring Jene Bobayoje here. Chiti, what do you think? It looks like Emmanuel's wife has something to tell us.
Oh, yes.
She has something.
What a good month ahead of us.
I'm dragging that woman to this platform because this thing I heard today is a powerful reminder from the Spirit. Okay. Thank you so much for your time always. I don't take it for granted, people. God bless and replenish you. I love you so much for being there always. Thank you, Titi. Thank you, Emmanuel. God bless you. God bless your home. May you always have love and light in Jesus' name. All right, everyone. Thank you for coming in. Those of you who connected, I could see you online. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for everything. And until we see you next week, have a love-filled week, people.